at 9:31. I have
Okay,
President Bill McGowan, Cal Rowe, Wayne Sawchuk, Dan Coughlin, Paul Pierce. Our first order of business is next meeting, which will be the 24th.
okay. So first order of business was 101 Pleasant, so I'm going to put Michael Dockery on here.
Okay.
Michael?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Sorry, had to figure out
It's
the old
okay.
unmute. How's everybody today?
Good, how are you?
Great, thank you.
Okay, with 101 Pleasant, you wanted to move forward, but you wanted to make it known through the board on the meeting that this was all set because we did receive his request for modified use, the application.
Yeah, so where there was a change of use application to add the freestanding building as having sewer. We already know the number of EDUs are already appropriated to the property, so there's no additional fee. And Dan requested to see some plans.
What the plans are submitted with their original application from Rosano Davis, who's the contractor that's doing the work.
So Dan, if you had a chance to look at them.
No, I haven't received that. The application for 101. Did it have a sketch on it, Carol?
I can send it to you. Hold on. I thought I sent all of this out already. I just sent it, Dan.
Yeah, if you could take a look at it, because there isn't really a reason to hold it up, I don't believe, since we had a pretty good lengthy discussion on the property, and Brian Joyce had his input on it as well.
Right.
Did you just send that to Dan?
I did.
Okay. I just logged into my Outlook for the emails from you, so. Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I understand from an email I got this morning that the town is not going to go through with the first floor project. And I don't know if that influences the EDUs.
You're talking about 1 Pleasant Street. We're talking about 101 Pleasant Street.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the sketch plan shows basically a grinder pump installation and a line. Doesn't really give a lot of specifics, unfortunately, but you know, I don't really see an issue with it. Like I said, you know, Rosano Davis has done 1 million of these. The location of the pump and the connection location appear to be appropriate. So, I'm assuming, I can review that with them before they actually do the work and make sure the redundant check valve goes in and that type of thing.
Is that something you go on site to inspect at any point, or you go by what Rosano Davis does?
Typically not, they would just take pictures, at key points and send them to us, but, because it usually happens a couple hours here, a couple hours there.
Okay,
And Jimmy Dunn's the foreman or supervisor who's doing the job. He says he does it all the time. So
They can
he's
talk to
very
them.
familiar with the process.
I don't really see an issue to hold it up as far as approval.
okay.
Want to make a motion, Paul?
Yeah, so is there any further discussion on 101 Pleasant?
Not for me.
Okay.
Nope.
So I'd like to make a motion to approve the sewer permit for connecting 101 Pleasant Street. And authorizing Carol to go ahead and
I'll second.
execute that.
We'll do a roll call vote. Bill McGowan, aye.
Wayne
Paul
Sox,
Kearsarge.
Okay,
Mike, did they give you any indication when work could start?
No, they're ready to go. The grinding pump's been ordered. I guess just waiting on permitting. So once I get the permit from you, I'll reach out to Rosano and then we'll let you know the start date. I can email it to Carol.
Yeah, that'd be great if you could.
Yeah, of course.
wonderful.
Thank you.
All right, take care. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well said. Thank you, everybody. Have a
Yep.
good rest of your day. Take care.
We're on to 390 CJC.
Yep.
Is somebody coming before us or are we?
No.
No, okay.
No, this is
So my
a,
confusion on this is that they never really stated anything on the plans of what they were doing. It was just a plan. And some staircase and some things of that nature, but it didn't say they're moving the liquor store to the Stop and Shop area. And that's my understanding of what's going on. I think there should be at least some definition on the plan as to what's going on, what's happening. And maybe I missed it, but I've gone over it several times.
this was mentioned literally a year ago, that he was moving it over. But I think it was just delayed because the space wasn't ready and stuff. And I don't
Yeah.
think it shouldn't have any impact on the amount of water they're gonna use, because it's a dry goods store, really. I mean, it's a liquor store, but there's no real generation, and I don't think people, the customers, probably use the bathroom because that might be a security thing for someone to put something under their shirt and stuff and go in the bathroom and then leave, but I don't think that's the case.
Yeah, I don't really see any,
Did any of you guys see the residents up there at all? Did it look like there was gonna be something up there? Like an apartment or anything?
that's the second floor. This is, this permit's for the first floor. This is
Okay.
right on the corner, closest to Stop and Shop.
Yep.
So what you'll see is the stairwell that goes up to the residential properties. That's what's on the plans. I'm looking at the plans right now.
I see no issues with it either.
Okay, is there any further discussion?
No, I'm good.
I'm good.
So I'd like to make a motion to approve the permit for 390
I'll second
CJC.
that. We'll do a roll call. Bill McGowan, aye.
Wayne
Paul
Sox,
Kears- Paul Kearsarge.
Okay, get that out of the way.
now, I understand there may be a change in ownership and design of the Feng Shui restaurant that could potentially have a difference in terms of consumption, But I don't know if anybody else has heard that.
No, I haven't heard that one.
Yeah. If it still remains a restaurant, we wouldn't see anyone in front of us, right?
Yeah, I just hope if they're gonna get rid of Chinese food, I hope they put Indian in.
Oh, no.
I love Indian food too.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
All right, why don't we move on to
205.
Atlantic?
All right, hold on, and I'm going to put in the engineer.
Was this 205 Atlantic Ave?
Yes.
Okay.
Hello.
Deb Keller with Merrill Engineers representing Ryan Conley for 205 Atlantic Ave, 205 Realty Trust. Hopefully I can answer any of the questions. I know that Ryan submitted a sewer connection application for a new dwelling at 205 Atlantic. It is a 5-bedroom home. We are looking to have a sewer service connection to Atlantic Ave. I have proposed a 6-inch sewer service down to the street. It's approximately 114 linear feet. There are 2 bends as we do have a curved driveway. I'm trying to keep this within the driveway limits. So we have cleanouts at those bends. And we're looking to tie into the existing stub that's there. But I guess I would defer to you. What I've been told is that will be tied into the town system. I think a few years back it was not, so I'm not sure the status of that at this point.
I can detail a little too. Wayne can probably add too, but there was an extension done across the bridge. It still needs to be physically connected up to the system. But the purpose of that was for emergency, in case we had to divert flow. So the sewer stub that was placed on that line really wasn't appropriate. There's not enough flow in that line to maintain scouring velocities, so it would cause an issue with the system, in our opinion. So that's a low pressure system, obviously, as well. So any connection to it would have to be via a grinder pump.
Okay.
The existing system, there was an old stub placed for the general property before it was subdivided, significantly down the street. So the question is, do we allow you to go down the street to connect up to that location? Or do you work with the existing or previous owners to get an easement to traverse their property to get to the existing stub? Does that sum it up, Wayne? Or
Yeah, and the stub is approximately on the left-hand side of the second entrance as you're headed towards the beach, to the property. And
On the other side of the carriage house, right?
right, it serves existing
Okay.
house, carriage house.
Yeah.
And is there there's a pump station there or manhole? No, it's just a
it'd just be a
service?
stub.
Oh, okay. I thought there was for some reason, I thought we had a survey or information showing that maybe I'm going farther up the street where that low pressure system sort of starts heading down in the other direction.
We're going around the corner.
Going around, yeah, going around the corner.
Well, it's all low pressure, so
Low, yeah.
everybody has their individual grinder pumps and connect to
Oh,
it.
so, all right, so that's what we have on the plan is the grinder
we-
pump for,
Someone else.
yeah, for 215 most likely, yeah.
So you're gonna be right over the bridge where the tennis courts are?
Yes,
Okay, so you're gonna be right there on the water. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
so,
I would think an easement to go across, as Dan suggested, might be the path of least resistance. I don't know. Would you recommend it a 6-inch pipe, right? In your plan? I don't,
we did because I was being informed that connection in Atlantic Ave, we were indicating the as-built, or excuse me, the existing conditions indicated that there was a sewer stub there tying into the main, but since then I've been informed that that was sort of an inactive section and that it was installed for future use, but hadn't been tied into a system yet. So that's, I was sort of trying to figure out
Yeah.
if it was going to be to allow this property to tie in. And that was sort of the direction I was told we were going in. So I wasn't looking into tying in, but originally I had a pump system up to closer to the 215 connection, thinking that's what we would have to do if this was an inactive portion or section of sewer main. So I right now it's just a 6-inch gravity down, but we can definitely relook at that and put a grinder pump in, you know, pump in and tie it up. I'm wondering if it's worth the Atlantic Ave right of way is very wide on this side of the street as we come around the bend. Is there any opportunity to run it just along the shoulder rather than going into, there is somewhat of a significant grade change through there?
I don't know, Wayne, what are your thoughts about
This,
maybe,
where you've protected the trees there.
Yeah.
My point was to get up on the side of the hill there with a small, mini excavator, and with the 2-inch
Mhm.
line or 1.5 from a grinder pump near the bottom of the hill, right by the street, would go maybe up on top of the grade to eliminate the chance of having ledge going along the side of the street. And I think there's a water main there on that side that you'd have to be 10 feet away from that. And then to be on the top of the hill, be in, and it's probably town land anyway. I think that the land goes up quite a bit going around the curve. And that would be fine. And because it only has to be 3 feet or so below grade, or 4 feet. And it would be a good chance of doing that successfully.
And the grinder pump for this property, should it be on private property or can it be in the right of way? I think if I'm hearing you correctly, we could run as shown down and maybe what I'm thinking, because we do have some drainage in that front portion of the property, if I run right along the property line, which is probably a good 20 feet away from the edge of Atlantic Ave.
Yep.
We could be away from the water main, which, oh yeah, I see the gate there. I think the water main is in the middle of the street as well, but there's a hydrant along the road there. We could be up closer to the property line, but within the way. But could the grinder pump be in the way, or would you prefer that on property?
Typically, that's installed on private
Oh,
property.
property. Okay, just
And
just
the
double check.
the control panel's typically within 35 feet because that's the cord length typically.
Okay.
You can order larger, but the problem with locating the grinder pump too remote from the residence is that they won't
Okay.
hear the alarms go off. And then you get into an overflow situation, and we don't want that basically running down the road, so.
Oh, yeah, then we can, I don't see why we can't put it up up near the residence and then run the force main down.
Certainly be easier probably running the small force main versus gravity sewer down.
Yeah, yep.
so Wayne, what are your thoughts of,
That's-
since we have that line that's inactive right now, we put it in there for future use. Is this an appropriate use for that? Do we want to?
Well,
This is a full-fledged bypass of our
Okay.
system. So it's a large diameter, and the
Yeah.
only service that would be on this is this single residence.
Okay,
So the wastewater and solids would sit in that line for a long period of time and likely create some odors.
okay,
So it's better to have it tie into the main line where we have other services connected and we can get better velocities.
okay.
Okay, I can rework that and so it would be okay to have some of the force main as it runs up to tie into the street up closer to the entrance of 215 Atlantic Ave and tying into the system there to have the force main run as close to the property line, but within the right of way. Would that be okay?
The only thing you have to do is check with the town engineer as well.
Engineer,
They have
Yeah.
domain within the streets. But
Okay.
in terms of the sewer, we've run long services before along streets and private drives, so it's nothing atypical.
okay. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think we'll have to pay attention to the street trees as well.
Yeah, I'd like to see the plans for the property and the sewer line stand if we have that available, because what I have from the applicant is really on the dwelling itself with some of the grade and but there's no topical view, there's no view of the property lines and the abutting properties and where our other line would be, similar to when we looked at the Hull Street property, we kind of had an idea of where they were in relationship to abutting properties and where the lines were, so.
Did you not get the sewer connection plan?
So that's not what I have here. I have several pages of the home itself.
Oh, I can share I think I need to elaborate on it anyways and revise it for you, but I could share the sewer connection plan that I did provide to Ryan.
Okay.
It might help a little bit.
Yeah, so show the property lines and where you're looking at now. with your mouse.
Yes,
Yeah, go ahead and share the screen if you can. Carol, let her share the screen. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
so I can zoom in on just a little bit. So
Okay.
initially we were looking to tie into, and of course my leader is right there. It looked like there was a stub right here from the sewer line that we were tying into. So we were going to come down and tie into here, but sounds like we don't want to tie into this. So I would put a grinder pump up here. And then I was thinking, I don't know if I can come down through here and then run up, or I would run down the driveway and then come back up this way, depending on which is the path of least resistance with regards to ledge, trees, etc.
And you still have to be 10 feet from the water line, so.
Right. Right now we have the water service coming into the house over here, which is a stub that was stubbed at the that sort of existing curb cut from the water main.
Yeah.
I do see a water service here, and we have a hydrant located coming off. I think the water main comes up through the street. So we'll have to investigate this area a little bit more.
We should have Scott or someone mark where the existing one is for 205 or 215, so that
Up here.
that's because I'm not sure exactly. It went around the barn, but around the barn was about 50 feet further than what the left-hand side of the driveway is, and I think there's a gas service or something in that area. So it's going to be the Williams property across the street. It's more opposite that if you're down there and on the site and look at it. But I think we should mark it. So we're going far enough.
Okay, so we'll expand this view so that we can get some more detail here to make that connection. I think we do have the plans. I'm not seeing it in my electronic file right now, but of where that low pressure system started, so that we have those connection locations.
The other thing too is you want to show probably the gate box or service box being pulled for the existing service that's out there, since it's going to be abandoned.
Okay, remove it. Okay, yep.
Is there any elevation issues for the grinder pump, Dan, relative to sea level?
Well, if it's within the flood zone, and I'm not sure if the flood zone is, no,
Yeah.
it's
No,
shown
flood
there.
zone's down here,
Yeah.
yep.
So it shouldn't be an issue. Don't even need a floodplain to use it.
Okay,
Yeah, we'll be, the bottom, the basement elevation of the house is elevation 20, which is, above the highest VE zone is 16, so
Okay.
we're, above that, and then heading hopefully in the right direction uphill.
The only other thing, this is a 5-bedroom, so that's 1.25 EDUs. And there would be a connection fee of 46,875. Based upon my job.
Could you say that again, Dan?
Sure.
46,
46,875.
875. Okay, great.
it's basically 9,000 and change per bedroom.
Bedroom.
9,375 per bedroom.
Awesome. I will let Ryan know that, and I can relay to him what we're looking to revise on the service.
So do you want to come back in 2 weeks or do you need longer?
I think 2 weeks. I think we can do it in 2 weeks.
Okay,
If
because
that
we're meeting
works.
on the 24th, and if we can get revised plans that we can approve, that would be,
That would
would
be
be
great.
And again, I checked with Brian Joyce just to
Okay.
confirm.
and then we could have him on the next meeting just to confirm with your plans that it is what he has reviewed, so.
Sure. Yeah, I'll definitely give him a call. And hopefully we can work through a route that works for everybody.
Okay,
All right. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
thank you.
Yes, I'm gonna ask him to unmute.
So Bill, next up on the agenda was capital planning.
Yep.
Yeah, that's why I asked him to come on.
Okay,
And I also, for business that we haven't brought up, I want to go over the request that I made 6 months ago to the town for a listing of all capital revenue that has come into the sewer betterment fund. So I'll do that after we talk to Rob.
Rob?
Yes, I'm off mute.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
yes, sir.
How are you?
Okay, good. Thank you. I'm great, thanks. I'm in the car, so if it's noisy, I apologize.
As we've done in the past every year, pardon me, we have to put together a list of planned capital acquisitions that the sewer we'd need or desire. And in the past, we called you and Scott and said, okay, what do you guys need for the plan? What's a high value target that we need to be planning to acquire?
Okay, so there's a lot going on, as you guys probably know. I mean, the membranes is separate, which is huge.
Right.
The coastal zoning grant is big because it'll do all the electrical and the the marsh, the lining of the marsh and the collection system. And then
We haven't seen the full report yet on that, right?
on the marsh,
Yeah, on that whole grant that we received, it was looking at the electrical aspects of it and, moving the trailer and raising things up above a certain
Uh,
I haven't
no,
seen it,
I don't,
so,
I don't think it's fully developed.
okay,
And I'm not certain of that. I was talking to Dan Scott yesterday and I didn't get that answer. I know they're coming in, they're doing, the surveyors are coming in Friday, Thursday
okay,
to
yeah,
do
and then-
Main Street marks and things out. So no, it has not been fully developed. I
okay,
know that Brian asked that we, not fast track, but make the marsh collection system line in a priority. Because for the last 3 weeks, Scott's worked around the clock every weekend. And quite honestly, he's extremely tired. We have to take care of the ion. It's huge. One other big item that's out there is the lakeside. So 2 years ago, I think it was 2 years ago, there was appropriations for getting the auger. And then we just never moved forward with it because the company said, you know, you really should do the gearbox, this, that, everything, installation. So if you ask me what the biggest priority is capital wise, that's not accounted for right now, is I would say the lakeside,
I would agree
which
with
is
what piece?
the lakeside unit. So that's for the screening into the treatment plant. So there's two systems. There's the lakeside and the wedge wire system. The
Yeah.
wedge wire is working well. But it's the motor, I think it's in desperate need of grease. It's getting noisy. Both of them are pretty much shot. So if there's anything we could address, it'd be that highest priority. And I honestly don't know how to go about it, because I know that at one time you had gone to the town for appropriations, and I want to say 70,000 was accrued for, and I may be wrong. If someone can help me.
Carol, can you look at that up? Can you look at that, please?
Sure.
And then, you know, piggybacking on all of that, we keep looking to the lakeside, the repair, the Maher Corp. Scott's got a Vivo. I think it's a Vivo coming.
Correct. Yes. Sorry. Sorry, I got on late. But yes, a Vivo is coming by probably Friday.
There you go. So instead of just looking into the lakeside, the repairs, the crane, Scott's actually looking into a different vendor where perhaps we could put it up by the headworks, up by the influent pump station, as opposed to down by the plant. And we have no sureties. We're looking into it because it's a priority.
Well, yeah, and Robin Scott, what we need to do to be able to have sort of the large rocks, which you've given us here with the auger and the wedge wire screen, and then anything that might be out as for a 10-year plan, capital planning within the town will ask us, you know, what other big things do you have coming down the road? So if you can think of anything, and I believe we did that last year. In fact, I'm almost positive we did. We could update that. Maybe Carol, you can find last year's 10-year plan,
Sure.
and circulate that to everyone. And then, you know, Rob and Scott, just tell us, I mean, are there things in there, Dan, as well as are there things in that 10-year plan that we should accelerate or not? And then submit it.
Yeah. So Dan put together a really good plan, and we've been piggybacking on that. Everything's listed. And one thing we did, we have a running spreadsheet since day one of years, you know, last year's capital completed versus this year's maintenance capital items proposed. We took the action list that Dan uses, and then we compiled some of the stuff that we had. So I just finished it last night. I would have sent it to you prior to the meet, but I only finished it last night. I have a very detailed list with notes, which I'll share tomorrow if you don't mind.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, the capital budget, you know, the only concerns we have is, you know, it's a 10-year plan. So I'm more focused on what do we need in the next like 18 months or so, or even
Yeah.
24 months, right? Because that's, unfortunately, I don't think we can get anything on the warrant right at the moment. I don't know. The deadline might be up on us. I'm not sure unless Brian Joyce has a placeholder for something. You know, we talked at our last meeting about two things. One is, you know, when we approved moving forward with the grant to look at the physical aspects of the plant. So,
Yes.
you know, that'll get approved at town meeting, and then, you know, over the next 12 months, they'll stare at the plant and tell us what they think needs to be replaced. But we already know we want to put some plan in place for rotating the membranes, one side versus the other.
Yeah.
We don't want to replace all of them at one time anymore. So we have to figure out how to do that and put it into the capital budget. The other thing we talked about is, you know, we had 14 pumping stations out there. We know we already upgraded Deer Hill Pumping Station and Veterans Pumping Station, but Scott said you guys were going to look into what are we doing with the other 12? You know, where are they and their longevity? You know, do we put, you know, one on every year for the next 12 years? You know, I don't know. Well, we have to figure out what those other stations look like. And then
Yeah.
The third thing we talked about this quite some time ago, but we haven't talked about it in a while. And that was when the membranes failed. Dan had identified a lot of other issues with the pumps and the grinders, the screens, and all of that. And we never went back to addressing those other issues that Dan identified because we were focused primarily on the membranes themselves and trying to get them to give us, you know, replacement membranes. So, Dan, I don't know where you stood on that, because we, you know, when the membrane group came out, you know, they said, oh, it's not us, it's all these other problems. And then Dan went and took a look at some of those other problems and said, well, there are some issues here, but you know, a lot of junk was going through the screens that probably shouldn't have, but I don't know where we stand on that, Dan.
Yeah, that's the screening unit that Rob was just talking about. Originally, I believe you had appropriated 75,000 for its repair.
Yeah.
I'm estimating now, because that was some time ago,
Yeah.
we're probably closer to 90,000. And like Rob said, he's evaluating other options as well, I guess. So, I mean, the screen is an important aspect of any membrane system. It's very important to get those solids out. You know, how we operate it too is important, so we don't have any overflows or bypasses of the screen. The other thing we had talked about was cleaning the tank out. I know we tried doing it last time, but we didn't really have people to enter the tank to clean it out well. So those aeration diffusers are still pretty well sludged up at the bottom, and it makes them less effective in terms of aeration. So I think, you know, a tank cleaning is also needed, but those are the two key elements in my mind. That and also the recycle rate, and making sure we have a good handle on the recycle rate so we can optimize the process. But you know, I had sent around an Excel, and like Rob had said, he made some edits, and then I made a couple other you know, minor edits, but we did circulate that to the board a week or so ago. But obviously, if Rob has a new list with some details, that might help.
Can we put together a priority though, like, you know, the first 5 items in the order they should be done?
Absolutely. Just if I could jump in, as far as the screening system, we did have the company out, and as Dan mentioned, we have the $75,000 repair. We do have a standing quote from Lakeside Mayher Company for a new unit, a brand new unit. And I did follow up with the manufacturer, and we got the quote about a year ago. They're still good with the quote. The issue that we had with the quote was it was just a quote to purchase. We still need to get a quote for install on this stuff. But Paul, the biggest, most important thing is the screenings. That's what's
Okay,
going to keep the membranes clean.
Yep.
So, and that's definitely, as Rob said, the wedge wire screen is working, but we got some noise issues now with it, with the motor. We got with some grease, but it's just in a tough spot to get to. But we're coming up with a plan to get up there, but it's only short term. All that stuff's 20 something years old now. So, but that would be the two biggest things are that screening. And then if you wanted to throw the sluice gate is the other for the influence sluice gate. Those are the two big things right now.
so if you put the cost of those together, what was the quote for?
So the
What was
quote,
amount?
I can forward it again. It's somewhere in the $125,000 to $145,000 range. Just
That's
to
without
purchase
installation.
without installation.
That's for a new one.
That's for a brandy new one. Yes.
You have the able to put a new one in next to the other one and then remove the other one or whatever.
See, that's the kind of stuff we need. We need some more information, and that's kind of why I reached out to another manufacturer to see what other type of options we have. Lakeside might be the best option. I don't know, but I want to at least try to see if there's any other option. But I don't really know 100%, Wayne, if it's going to just fit right in there.
So what does Woodard and Kern have any engineering services where they would have a group come out and look at it? I mean, why is it we got a quote a year ago and we haven't moved forward on anything for a year? Or were we waiting for someone?
Well, we're waiting for a few. We're waiting on a few things, Paul. We're waiting on one thing that did derail that money is we used that money for some blower repairs because we weren't ready to jump right on the lakeside. But it's a space issue. It's an installation issue. It's get somebody to want to come back here and put that in. There is zero space for zero machines back there. It's not going to be an easy task for someone to do it. And it took us 15 years to get somebody to put doors in here. I don't think it's going to be easy to get somebody to put a whole new lakeside back there now that the whole plant is built. So that's the issue.
Just finding someone to do the work.
Correct. Because it sounds like if I had all the quotes, the town has the money to do the work or could appropriate the money, but it's getting somebody to do the work is the toughest challenge of any project here.
Okay. So this is kind of too late for the current budget. I mean, the best we could do is put it on October, November's warrant,
I think if it,
3 months from now, but
Paul, I think we can get the money if we have the project. You just know there's going to be certain delays. You put it on for next year, it'll end up being fall. So I think we.
yeah, I'm just from a timing perspective. I don't know if they already shut off the warrant or not. You know what I mean?
Paul, when I was talking to advisory, they seem to think if we could get it in next week, it would be okay. Now, I will
Okay.
confirm that today.
Okay.
Just
So
reserve-
Carol, we need to find out if Brian has a placeholder for anything to do with sewer. And then we could just put the text in the box and let it ride. I don't know.
Okay.
I mean,
Just from a ballpark perspective, if you had 145,000 in equipment purchase, then you got a crane and installation, you're gonna at least add 90 grand to that probably overall, because it's a tight working space. And then you also have the tank cleaning, which is another 30 or so. So
I would put in 290.
290 should probably cover it if you could put in a number.
Yep.
Could we go up at the plant rather than trying to sneak underneath a structure? And put, for the new thing in terms of tight quarters, crane anyway, and all that rest of the stuff.
I think it really needs to be assessed on the interior. It's all stainless steel construction.
Yep.
Originally we had targeted just all the mechanical guts being removed and replaced and leaving the tank.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm sorry, Dan. I just found the quote and I couldn't have been more off if I tried. So they deducted it's more closer to the 200,000. they got a quote of I can forward it to as soon as I'm done here. They got a quote of 435,000, but then they credited like 197 because we're going to use, as Dan was saying, our existing tank and stuff. But it's going to be closer to the 200,000, just for the purchase.
Yeah, so now we're at 325.
Yeah, and Wayne, just so I am more than happy to say, yeah, let's go up, but just know your first person you have to convince is going to be Joe Coggins. If we start going up, he's going to lose his mind. He's in here a lot, and he asks me all the time if we have any plans to go up. That's one of his top priorities. So you guys are more than welcome to do anything you want. Just know you're going to get some pushback from him if we start going up.
Would you be higher than the top of the building that's there now?
If you're talking going higher than what we have now, yes, because as he calls them, the cannons are right above the trees, right? They're right at that tree height, right at the top of the building now. And that's where he's very concerned about being able to see. So, I mean, nothing a 20-foot high fence couldn't fix, but I'm sure he wouldn't like that either.
Again, if you're just replacing the guts inside, it's not going to change height per se.
Right.
And the big thing with this, it is what they call a complete treatment unit. It's not just a screen. It's also a grit removal system.
Correct.
And, that's an important aspect that you need in the process as well. Otherwise, you fill up your tanks with solids too.
Yeah, no, agreed, 100%. Yep.
We look forward to the 20 years.
So you're right, Paul. It'd probably be up in that range. I mean, to be safe, I'd probably carry 350 or so.
Yeah.
It-
Carol, we have to get online and see if we can get, we haven't seen our budget in a while, so I'm assuming that getting 350 from the town is not going.
And DNC Construction used to give us quotes on that. They rehabbed the unit once before. I'm sure they would probably give you another quote too if they knew what the scope of work was. So probably that Lakeside quote would be needed to give to them so they can evaluate.
Okay. So if we replace this and put a brand new system in and we rotate the membranes every 6 or 7
Yep.
years side, pretty much make life easy for Scott until it rains, right?
Yes.
Well, until we line the system, and then now we're really talking, right? Yeah. But no, that's all kidding aside. That's a huge.
Well, I mean, Rob said you haven't gotten any sleep in a while, and we got money in the budget for a cot.
I'll take it. I don't even need a pillow. Just the cot would be appreciated.
Yeah. I appreciate the humor. They're coming. They're scheduled for the 15th because they got 2 full days where they have to finish inspecting the bars and a couple other segments in the collection system. Then we're 100% cleaned and cameraed. So we're close. We're close. We just need to. Hopefully they'll find some big crack, break, something. They'll line it. That's it. We're back in action.
All right.
We're hopeful.
We're hopeful. All right. That Lakeside quote has just been distributed to everybody. So
Thank you.
Carol, you just need to check to see how much of the 75 that was originally appropriated is less. Maybe there's still some money you can bring down your estimate.
How are
Okay.
we doing with?
So I have one item that I'd like to bring up that was not on the agenda, and I have brought this up before. I first surfaced this with the town at least 6 months ago. And that is to find out how much money is in the sewer betterment account, period. I don't want to see, the revenue streams based on interest and all of that. We need to get something that says, as the guardians of the Betterment Fund, 3 of us are responsible for it. And I haven't seen any indication of the money that has come in. And yes, we've gotten, there's a new account for Cook Estate and a new account for CJC. It's not what I'm asking for. I've been asking for a single document says sewer betterment fund on the top of it. It shows all of the deposits that have been made to us for whatever it is, EDUs, connection fees, whatever. Where it is right now, how much we've received totally, say in the last 6 to 12 months, and what do we have as a balance right now, and where is that money? Nobody can tell me that. I think that's a very simple question. And that's all I'm asking. And I don't know where to go. I'll let the board comment on this. I've been about as high up as I can go. And I'm frustrated, to be honest with you.
Should have a meeting with somebody. I understand that Don Pia is consulting for the town. So maybe there's an opportunity where we could set up a meeting with Don Pia to go over all of that. He was the one who was most knowledgeable that we last met with over all of these finances 3 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, but this should be a simple exercise to tell us as a enterprise fund how much money has come into it and where is it, how much is there now, what's the balance? We haven't spent anything out of it, to my knowledge.
But, you know,
What is it?
when you look at it, a fee for the 5-bedroom house of $46,000, there are more 5-bedroom houses around town being built. And where does that 46,000 show up into the, that we're getting that was unexpected, therefore it wasn't budgeted for, that we can use?
Yeah, there is a sewer privilege and hookup fee account where that's supposed to be going in. And again, when Carol had sent some of the reports to us, there was a little activity in one of them, but not to the extent that you're saying. And in fact, they put the Higgy property in a separate account, and I don't know why they put the $64,000 in there. So we've got to straighten that out as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's craziness. And, as Paul, you've mentioned this before, we can't account for where the money that came in from CJC. Where
Yeah,
is it?
the $100,000 deposit, nobody knows where it is. So
they'll go a long way
we either get reconciliation from the town or,
this
you know,
Medfire thing.
yeah, I mean, we need some sort of financial reconciliation with the town on the entire and a class on how they're appropriating the funds as they come in. So we have an understanding moving forward what we're reading. I mean, outside of that, we have an audit.
I'll throw this up. I'd like Wayne and Paul to comment on this. I'd like our next meeting, we obviously have a couple of things coming in, but I would like to have the town invited, and that means Chris and Michelle and Dawn if possible, and tell us what is going on with our accounts and when will they be brought up to speed so say that we're having the meeting today, that tomorrow the board will know how much money we have in our account, who has paid us, and if anything, where has any money moved and gone and been moved around. I just can't believe we can't do that.
Okay. What's
And-
Don's last name?
Don Piatt, Piatt.
Piatt. Okay.
But and don't and tell them not to attend the meeting unless we have financials 5 days in advance.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
we see them and review them before we get into a meeting with them.
Yeah, and Carol, with all due respect, the stuff that was sent to you and you sent to us, it's like monthly accounting. That doesn't really give us a consolidated balance sheet of where all the funds are that we've received
Okay.
from both.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll contact all of them and see if we can't get what you're looking for.
Yeah, I mean, it should be pretty simple. You would think. So, all right. Well, guys, I don't have anything else. Anyone else?
The only other thing I just wanted to bring up,
55.
was, 55, South Main. The
Yeah.
gentleman came in the other day and stated that it was gonna be 12 residential units and 2 commercial units. Obviously, he's still in the beginning of setting this up, but I just wanted you guys to be aware that this was,
Okay.
Because I know he's already spoken with John. So, obviously he has to go through planning and all of that first, but,
Okay, so this is a new owner of the property that was previously reviewed by planning and approved by planning, but it didn't get to the point where it came to sewer. I don't think we've ever looked at 55 South Main yet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and I checked Permit Eyes. I couldn't find anything on there yet, so
okay.
I
So
don't have
we-
any plans or anything.
We had a water main break out front of the property. We've had a culvert issue over there leaking, so Brian Joyce should probably take a look at this as well.
Okay.
Um, Did they say if there were going to be condominiums or apartments?
He did not. He just said, 12 residential.
Okay,
Yeah, based upon that, it's about 6 EDUs just for the residential component. The commercial space, though, it really all depends on the EDU count, depends on the use. So I don't know if they're planning on retail, doctor's offices, office space. We need to
Yeah.
have that defined as part of the application.
or restaurant, yeah,
Sure.
okay. And when you made a comment about One Pleasant Street,
Yes. And I don't know how that would reflect to the EDUs when we get to it. If there's gonna be a change, but this morning I heard that the deal was off, that the owner didn't accept it.
okay,
So where does that follow up as far as continuing on with? I guess we wait until.
so it comes in front of us, yeah, so I was, I attended the planning board meeting where they voted to convert it from apartments to condominiums for the whole facility.
Okay,
So we know that it's all condominiums at this point.
so upstairs and downstairs. The first floor, including the first floor.
Including the first floor. First floor would be one condominium property, and then there would be 14 individual condominium properties on the second, third floor.
Okay, so but one condo,
Commercial.
would,
Unless he subdivides it, I don't know what he's gonna do, we don't know till. Yeah, he might subdivide it at this point if he's not going to accept the town's.
right, he would almost have to, so that someone, if they wanted a restaurant, the original type of
Yeah.
thing, they may want to take a first floor as a new tenant, so you don't
Yeah,
know.
which it's gonna change it then because he's gonna need restrooms on however many.
Right, no, I'm saying,
divides, yeah,
I guess we just watch this, until
yeah.
more information.
Okay, and Carol, we approved our friend down on, I think it's 147 South Main,
Mm-hmm.
and he was supposed to get us a check for like 13 grand or something, or whatever the number was, 18, I forget what it was. 147 South Main. Has he paid yet?
No,
You haven't signed any permits for him yet, right?
I don't believe so, no.
Can you check?
Yes, I will.
Yeah,
And one other thing that can you look up, and it's between 79 to 80 Atlantic Avenue. It was a house that was there. They tore it down and they built at least a 5-bedroom house, and it's in its place. That's almost finished, I think. So it might be
79 to what?
89.
89.
It's there. So it's in that number range.
Okay, I'll take a look.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do we have anything else to discuss?
No, that was it for me.
that's it. So we just gotta find out from Brian, we need quick answers from him as to, does he have placeholders on the warrant to get some stuff on there for,
I just sent him an email.
okay, for capital, and we already put $250,000 on there, in which the town would be, where the sewer has to pay 90 of it. The rest of it comes in as a grant, but we have to fund the entire thing and get reimbursed from the grant. So that's already on the article that I believe. So I don't want to, just make sure he knows there's, and this is additional to that.
Okay,
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Yeah,
Second.
I'll make a motion to adjourn. Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
We'll see you.
Thank you very much.
Take care. Take care. Thanks.
Bye.
You.